Good evening, Youth in Government. I'm Sarab Adoud.
And I'm Jessie Zand, and thank you for tuning in to Why Witness News.
A highly controversial bill was presented in the legislature today. More with the story, Trent Dill.
Thanks, Sarab. Is the most populated American state too big for its own good? Tim Draper, a third-generation venture capitalist with a penchant for big ideas, is promoting a plan that would split California into 6 separate states. California has 58 counties, nearly 40 million people, and an economy so large that it would rank among the top 10 countries in the world. But given the state's diverse geography and industries, Draper's ballot initiative argues that the citizens of the whole state would be better served by 6 smaller state governments. California would be split up into North, West, Central, Southern California, along with Silicon Valley and a state called Jefferson. This California split proposal has been introduced to Youth in Government through the California Emergency Team this morning on all of the legislative floors. They sought simply to place the California split proposal, or AB 300, on the Youth in Government ballot to allow further debate and an official vote by our youth delegates. Blue Assembly argued that splitting California into 6 states would be an organizational nightmare, so few delegates voted to pass the act. The act also did not pass in Gold Senate.
It is in the opinion of this chair and this assembly that this bill does not pass.
Blue Assembly voted against having 55 stars on our flag. What do you think, California?
Thank you, Trent. The youth governor held a press conference today, and our reporter Katie was there.
This morning, Youth Governor Sam Liccardo responded to questions from the media at the governor's press conference. He answered questions on relevant issues right now, such as California's drought, and expressed his views on this year's governor candidates.
I think all of the counties should take steps to reduce water usage, sprinklers at home, recreational, and then if need be, ration, and then we need to discuss the fact that we have certain crops that we're overproducing and are using up a lot of our water supply. For example, the vineyards are using a lot of the local communities' water supplies, and that's something we also need to take a look at. But it's really going to have to be an effort on behalf of all the communities across the state. I think we definitely have an issue there, not necessarily because of what we see, but the very fact that small delegations feel that they're being underrepresented is something we need to address in the first place. If in the future we could, I think it would be useful for the governor or other officers to work with small delegations and perhaps partnering them with bigger delegations, or having them do activities outside of the conferences to allow them to create associations with each other that could help them from then on. They're very impressive. I like all of them. They're all really nice. Sometimes you feel off-put by a certain candidate, but I feel we have a really great group that would represent the program extremely well. And I've heard some really great speeches, I have to say. I'm impressed with some of them. They got me riled up. So you need somebody who's going to focus on making the program more than it is outside of the conferences, and doing things in collaboration with the staff to make sure the program is more well known. And I think there is merit in the argument that sometimes when you see people voting, instead of voting online, it may sway you to vote for with your delegation in a block. However, I think the political party system has really increased the quality of the candidates that we've seen, and it's there to make sure the most qualified people make it to the top 5, the top 2, and ultimately the position of governor.
The youth governor also explained the first bill which he was going to sign, which would permit nonviolent drug offenders to receive education and addiction help over going to jail.
And I feel this is really important, not just because of the overcrowding and the fact that the courts deemed our overcrowding prison situation is unconstitutional, ordering the state to do something. But I think when we put people away for something like a minor drug crime just because they have an illness, they're an addict, you can't blame them for that by putting them in jail.
Katie also has more info on a fake Twitter account made under Sam Liccardo's name.
The Twitter world was abuzz Thursday evening as hundreds of female delegates swooned at the thought of being followed by who they thought was Sam Liccardo. This Twitter account, @SamLiccardo, was actually a parody account made mocking the governor. After the account had been reported and suspended by Sam himself, we asked the youth governor to comment on the subject. So Sam, we understand that there was a Twitter that was made to of a parody of you on Thursday. Would you like to comment on this?
Sure. I don't think it was very much of a big deal. It was really inappropriate things were posted, and it had my full name as the Twitter handle, which I probably should have taken that Twitter handle, but my last name's a little long, so I didn't. I hope it doesn't happen again to anybody. It was a poorly thought out joke, really inappropriate actually, but nothing bad has come of it, and people who know me know I wouldn't have posted things like that, and so I hope this is the end of anything like that in the future.
All right, thank you. Although there has been speculation, it is unknown still who created this Twitter account.
Today, our reporter Elena caught up with Grant Macomb, youth governor candidate. Let's see what he had to say.
Hi, my name is Elena Dreisbach, and I'm here with Grant Macomb, one of your 67th Youth Governor candidates. So I wanted to ask you a few questions about your campaign. So first, what is your platform? What do you plan to do if you are elected Youth Governor?
Well, my platform consists of environmentalism and equality. Within Youth in Government, I want to create something called Youth Action Councils that will work directly with seated politicians and leaders in the field on a variety of issues. So youth that are passionate about similar topics can work together and make a change in the government that really runs the state of California so they can actualize these dreams. I also want to create a reservation outreach program to get Native American youth that are still on the reservation into youth in government, because if you look around, there are no reservation delegations. There's no active body of Native Americans participating in youth in government. It's virtually non-existent, except for me and like 3 other people.
All right, so which part of your campaign then sets you, and your platform, which part of your platform sets you apart from the other candidates?
Well, the Youth Action Councils are actually based on a model of my environmental organization, One Planet, One Chance. So this is stuff I've actually done and actually see working in the real world. I just got back from speaking at the Department of Fish and Game Resource Committee, and as you heard in my speech, they voted unanimously in our favor. So this is stuff I'm actually getting done. I just want to bring to youth in government. So I've already done this stuff, and I just want to bring it home.
That's really great. So why did you decide to run? What was that turning point where you're like, yes, I'm going to run for 67th Youth Governor?
Looking at leaders within youth in government, looking at people like E.J. Marin, looking at leaders last year, I felt an inspiration. I saw them get up on stage and I thought to myself, wow, that is amazing what they're doing. That's just incredible that they can get up and speak in front of 3,000 people. It's incredible the change that they're trying to bring to the program. They're just trying to give back and do so much good for the program and for everybody in the program. And a lot of people think, like, they'll come up to me and they'll say, wow, you're running for like the biggest position in youth in government. It's crazy. How do you do it? And I'm not running for the biggest position in youth in government. I'm running for the position I can help the most delegates from and try to inspire the most people from.
That's wonderful. So now we're going to move on to the easier questions, I guess. What is your passion? You're not allowed to use Youth in Gov. Okay. It has to be something outside of this program that you enjoy doing. And
so like a hobby? Hobbies, that kind of thing?
Not necessarily a hobby. I mean, I guess hobby. If you want to put it that way, sure.
I am an avid outdoors person. I am outside more than I am inside. I love backpacking, rock climbing, surfing. I'm all over the place. And with that comes the environmental aspect of myself. I'm a huge environmentalist. If you come up and talk to me about anything, I'll probably start talking about the environment. Just trying to bring about a change, like one random act of kindness at a time will change the world.
That's sweet. So if you could pick, if you were unable to go into political science as your major or politics as a career choice, what do you think you would choose and why?
I'd either become an environmental attorney or a doctor and join the Peace Corps, go to third world countries and help people.
That's really great. So. This has been Elena Dreisbach. Thank you for your time. This has been Elena Dreisbach for Eyewitness News.
A federal judge has overturned a ban on same-sex marriage in Virginia this week, saying it makes our freedom more perfect. This ruling also states that the state must recognize other same-sex marriages performed outside the state, but it is on hold pending appeal.
This morning was the annual campaign breakfast celebrating delegates who made over $300,000 for the Youth in Government program. More on this story, we went to Holly to check it out.
The annual campaign breakfast celebrated the victory of delegates who raised money for future scholarships and endowment. They raised over $300,000, reaching 97% of their goal.
Thanks, Holly.
3-2 is the score in the Olympics today. The U.S. men's hockey team goes to play Slovenia tomorrow.
Russia has now taken the lead in medal standings with 15. The U.S. and the Netherlands are tied with second with 14 medals each.
I'm not so hot with numbers. Luckily, I'm in broadcast media and not Department of Finance. DOF is a program in which not many youth in government delegates know about.
And our girl Holly went to the DOF program to figure out what it was all about.
The Department of Finance creates proposals to reform the California budget and then makes amendments according to the governor's areas of focus. To get more information on this, we interviewed Rafa Ali.
Basically, the Department of Finance is the program area responsible for creating the state's budget. So there are two budget teams, one under Deputy Director myself, which is the lead budget, and then one under Joe Kaler, which is the Irwin budget. And both of us have separate chambers, and we're each coming up with a budget for the state of California. So we take the existing budget and we make amendments to it. Each delegate comes up with their own proposals in order to make amendments to the existing budget, and then we compile all of those proposals into one big budget. And then we present them to Governor Liccardo, and he decides which one he likes best. So it's kind of a fun program area because it combines lots of different aspects of the program areas. For example, it's Legend because of the Department of Finance. Obviously, we focus a lot on money. It's kind of like the Senate and Assembly because we obviously debate them in parliamentary procedure and everything. And it's really interesting to just see how all these different aspects of the budget come together to form the finances of our state.
Good yard, good looks, beat, fugazi, fufu, and boof.
Hella, dank, and Gucci. With this NorCal and SoCal lingo, I went on the streets to check it out. All right, so what slang words do you use?
Hella.
Hella. Dope.
Sketch.
Gnarly.
Rad.
Hyphy.
Hella. Wet. Finna.
In SoCal, people say dank, and then in NorCal, they don't understand. But then in NorCal, people say hella, and we all want to kill you.
They say cruise in SoCal when like something's cool. Good yard.
Dang, Saurabh, that was such an ill piece.
Yeah. Good looks, Shazam. Often, many delegates don't soak up the real sack. With more on this story, Shani Nelson.
Thanks, Saurabh. I'm here in front of the California State Capitol, and I'm going to go inside and give you an inside look at the historical features. California's 40 senators meet in this chamber to decide issues that cover a wide range of subjects. In keeping with the time-honored tradition, senators are called individually and cast as voice voted. The reading clerk who sits at the front desk records each vote. The 80-member assembly uses modern methods to manage a vast legislative agenda. Members vote by pressing the button on their desk. A green or red light appears by the member's name representing their yes or no vote on the panels behind the front desk. This stained glass version of the Great Seal of California can be found embedded in the ceiling near the entrances of the Senate and Assembly chambers. All 600,000 pieces of original mosaic made it through the Capitol's renovation. The interior dome of the Capitol includes bands of cast iron, plaster, and painted canvas. The rotunda rises nearly 100 feet from a circular walk on the second floor to the oculus. Each of the 58 counties in California are represented with symbols and figures showing their products and points of interest on display in the first floor of the Capitol's annex. The governor's office is in the east wing on the first floor that was built in 1852. The bear sculpture was purchased and put on display by our past governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you'd like to tour this beautiful place in person, check out the California State Capitol website. Back to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Shani. Many delegates wonder how Sam Liccardo chooses his priority bills. Holly caught up with him earlier today to discuss this.
Lots of bills are discussed every day in the Senate and Assembly chambers. They all have one goal, to get signed by our youth governor, Sam Liccardo. But what does he look for in a bill? I interviewed him to find out. What are you looking for in bills, and what are your highest priority bills right now?
So the first thing I look at is, do I feel it's a very important issue, and does it align with my platform? Oftentimes, I think creativity is nice, and even if I'm not wholeheartedly behind it, I think something that creates a lot of debate is very valuable in the legislatures. One of the bills that I've been looking at and is one of the priority bills is a recommendation to the United States Congress to allow gay men to donate blood and organs. They are currently barred, and I think it's just a very, very outdated and unfair law. And that's something that my administration has been working on. That's one of the 20 or so bills.
Ever wonder what Bruce Casra, President Pro Tem, does? Here's a look into his daily duties. What is the job description of the President Pro Tem?
So basically, the President Pro Tem is the one who presides over Senate sessions along with Lieutenant Governor. We basically switch off between Gold and Blue Senate. Sometimes the Lieutenant Governor presides in the Senate chambers, and sometimes I preside in the Convention Hall, and then we switch off. Other jobs that we have basically is to introduce guests during joint session and to make sure that everyone's having a good time in their sessions, essentially.
What is it like in the day of a President Pro Tem?
It's pretty fun. We get a lot of interesting page notes while we're sitting up there. Everyone's generally nice, and sometimes they ask interesting questions to me, and they try and challenge me, but in the end, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely fun.
What are the daily struggles of your job?
I would say one of the biggest struggles is probably when there's a list of boring bills on the docket, because usually when there are boring bills, it definitely conveys to everyone in the session, and the debates are not really that great. What I've tried to do is make the bills on the docket as debatable as possible so that people are more interested. In my last session, a lot of the bills in the docket at that current time that I was in charge of were slightly boring, and you could tell some people were almost falling asleep.
What is your favorite thing about your job?
I would say definitely the favorite thing about my job is the people I get to meet and all the people, really the recognition I get for it, because it's honestly, I'm really humbled to be in this position, and all the page notes basically people send me saying you're doing a great job and keep it up. It really makes me feel good, and it makes me keep loving what I'm doing.
Last night was the governor's ball. Let's see how hype it really was.
Oh, hi, Eyewitness News. I went to the dance last night, and many delegates were unhappy with it. Complaints ranged from not enough twerking to too much fog. After interviewing some people, I came to the consensus that the DJ was inadequate. Many delegates that left early said that there was an absence of quote-unquote ratchet music.
That looked pretty turned up. That's all for this evening's broadcast. I'm Jessie Zand.
And I'm Strabadoon.
And from everyone here at Eyewitness News, stay classy, Sacramento.
And good yard.